Hiya, I hope you're keeping well. Today I'm just going to do a really simple everyday makeup using some of my favourite lower end beauty products. These are all things that you'll find really easily on the high street, but they are really lovely, so I just thought I'd round them all into one video. So everything I'm using is around the £10 mark. Some of them are maybe like a couple of pounds more, but most of them are £10 and under. So I'm going to start with the L'Oreal Skin Paradise Tinted Water Cream. This is a really fresh, glowy base and it's a very sheer coverage. So if you want something that doesn't look like lots of makeup, this might be nice for you. At the moment, I'm especially red, so I am going to have to go over with a little bit of concealer because as you can see, this gives a nice glow. But for example, on those areas of redness, it's not quite going to cover them. But I'll show you a nice little trick with that in a moment. The nice thing with this is that it gives a lovely wash of colour everywhere, so that you'd be forgiven for thinking you haven't got loads of makeup on when you just build the coverage in those areas. So I'm just going to buff this in. Now, as you know, I do wear my CC cream every day. That's my base of choice. But just to mix things up and show you something different, I thought I would show you this lovely L'Oreal one. So that's all over. You can see it gives a really lovely glow. And then for me, needing that extra bit of cover, I'm going to go in with the Maybelline, the Instant Anti-Age Eraser. I got this concealer because I saw it on so many videos and I was thinking, what is the fuss all about? But I can confirm that I very much understand what the fuss is all about because it is fantastic. So I'm just going to add this to the areas that are red rather than using it all over. So I'll stipple it in to those places and then using the same brush, I'm just going to work that in. I haven't got any tan on today. It's tan night tonight. So these have all worked perfectly for today. So as you can see, because I've put the extra coverage just in those areas and left the rest quite fresh, it gives the illusion that your whole base is fresh. So that's always quite nice, isn't it? Now, to seal everything in place, because that's quite luminous, I do want to keep that glow, but I don't want it to go, you know, borderline shiny. I'm going to take the Collection Primed and Ready Illuminating Setting Powder. I've used this in quite a few videos, actually. I really love it. I think Collection on the whole, if you're having a little look at the high street beauty brands, I really, really rate Collection. Anything I've tried from them, I think you get really great results. Their brow gel in particular is fantastic. Like, I'd choose that powder whether I was purposefully doing a high street video or not. Do you know what I mean? So base is on. I'm going to let that sit for a moment and then I'm going to go in with, this is a Profusion eyeshadow palette. They do such lovely colours and things. Have I just got makeup on my top? Probably have. But they're really inexpensive. Now, this particular palette is called Ultra Warm. I had a little look for it online earlier and I couldn't actually find it because it's quite old, this palette. I've had it in the cupboard for ages. I'm just going to go in with a nice soft brown. I'm not sure if this particular palette is still knocking around, but ultimately you'll get a sense of how easy the shadows are to blend. So just as a brand, I always think it's nice to have some kind of palette in the cupboard that has lots of different colours in it. So for the odd day that you might be thinking, do you know what, I fancy wearing something brighter that I wouldn't usually wear, you've got that option ready to go. But they're not the colours that you want to spend a fortune on because you're not going to wear them as often. So I'm actually just going to wash that all over the lid. So I'm doing my age-old little tip of going in with a soft brown through the socket, and I'll wash that across the eye. So I've got that nice wash all the way through there. And then I'm going to take a slightly deeper brown. Let me just kick that out in the corners. I'm going to take a slightly deeper brown on a slightly flatter brush and just press that into the lid. Let me have a look at which kind of colour I'm going to go for. Got a nice deep brown here. It's funny, isn't it, how the slightest little change in weather can have you reaching for much darker colours. Now, one thing I will say, there we go, to illustrate my point exactly. Sometimes with slightly less expensive palettes, you may get a little bit more drop down than if you used, you know, maybe like a more buttery texture. So I've got to hand some cotton buds. I'm just going to pack this on and not worry about the drop down for now. And I'll go back and deal with that in a moment. And what I would recommend, it's a tip actually I picked up from the girls on the counter at Charlotte Tilbury. If you go in with a cotton bud and some moisturiser, rather than makeup remover that's going to completely remove everything that you've put on, which I don't want, going in with a little bit of moisturiser will just softly buff away the mistake and leave you in a position to build back up any coverage that's gone awry. So just while we're here, I'm going in with the Snow Mushroom moisturiser from the Inkey List. I need to do a little skincare video about the Inkey List actually, because I've been using a few bits of theirs probably since the beginning of lockdown, just to give them a try, because they were another brand I'd heard loads about and I'm really impressed. They're a lovely brand. So what I'm going to do here is just buff that with the bottom end of my foundation brush. Go back in with a little bit of concealer and just buff that back into place. There we go. Good as new. Okay, and I'm going to match up the other side now. So, back to my hand mirror. I'd love to know what are some of your favourite high street makeup brands. I'm having a little look at everything else I've got to show you. I've got a few bits from NYX here. I don't think you can really go wrong with NYX, to be honest. Always lovely pigmented formulas. I've got a little blush palette from this same Profusion brand. So that's what I'll do my cheeks with. I'm going in with Rimmel Sun Shimmer as my bronzer, because, I mean, I think that's an icon at the best of times, isn't it? And I've got a little L'Oreal Paris Mascara to polish everything off. Now, what I'm doing, when you've got that kind of line between your lighter and your darker brown, I'm going in with a blending brush. I've got quite a bit of product on there actually, with a tiny bit of that brown to just really gently soften that edge and bring those two colours together. And I'm really gently going through. Now, to be honest with you, there's quite a jump between those two colours. So what I might do is take a little in between. I've got kind of a dusky maroon here, and I'm going to take some of that to just help to transition those two colours. And I don't really care if this is 100% perfect. I think it'll be nicer, that bit smudgier. But what I do care about is that it's nice and blended. So I'm going to take a clean blending brush and just make sure that those edges are nice and soft and fluffy. So we've got no telltale lines. See the difference that that clean blending brush has made? Okay, the time is running away with me, so I'm going to get a move on. Okay, now I'm just gonna tidy up the other side. Same technique. I've got a bit of my snow mushroom left on my hand actually. Just very gently. There was only a little bit of drop down on that side, to be fair. Back in with some concealer. I'm gonna buff that out using my fluffy brush. Okay, and then I've got a little brow mascara. This is from Soap and Glory. I'm going to wipe off any excess. I always think that's wise when you're going in with these brow mascaras. And I'm just going to really gently brush upwards to create more of a brow lift. And just hold those brows into place. You can see that it's actually deposited quite a lot of colour. And I wiped that clean, so you can imagine that could have been really quite strong if I hadn't just taken that little precaution. So, right the way up. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do, now that I'm panicking a bit about time, which I definitely am, is I'm going to finish everything else and then do my mascara last. So, I'm going in with my Rimmel Sun Shimmer on a large fluffy brush, and I'm just going to take that through this hairline to add a little bit of warmth. Take it through those cheeks. Check the mirror behind me. A little bit down the nose. There we go. A little bit of this Profusion blush palette, which again, I'm not entirely sure that this exact palette is still there, but any of the Profusion blushes will deliver a similar kind of result. These have got a little bit of shimmer to them, but you can see how pigmented that is. And I've barely really touched the brush. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Kiko lip liner. You know me and my lip liners for drawing on a completely fake lip. I think I've gone a bit over there, but never mind. I'm going to fill the whole lip gently in. And then I used to use this so much over the summer. This is a lip gloss from Sainsbury's Boutique Lip Plumping Gloss. They're fantastic. They're so buttery. They smell really sweet. If you're into that, you'll love this. And they're just a really comfy wear. And then, okay, still got a minute to go. Let's get some mascara on. This is the L'Oreal Paris Lash Paradise. This is one of the ones that's slightly over a tenner. You can see the brush there, nice big brush. Becca had said to me this morning, and I agree, I feel like there are so many new mascaras at the moment. It's hard to keep up with them all, but I'm going to try and show them to you bit by bit. This, I have to say, has been a really lovely mascara for capturing all of your lashes, but it doesn't clump. If you're sick of your mascara clumping, this might be a nice one for you. I personally don't mind a bit of clump, to be honest, because I love a nice full lash. I think the wand on this as well is so large that it does your lashes nice and quickly for you. Okay, well there we go. Nice little budget beauty. And I think the nice thing with all of those things is, even though they are less expensive, like, I really like that makeup. I'd be happy to go out with that, and it's no different than any other makeups I might have done over the last week. But I hope you enjoy. Let me know if there's any other brands in particular that you want to see or that you think are really good that I can have a play with, and I'll look forward to speaking to you soon.